Oh, I'm in the bathroom, I'm getting changed, but look, somebody's not very well. I spotted her this morning. I thought she was just lying down, if I'm honest. I didn't even read into it. I'll grab her and bring her in. Boy's gonna help me bring her in. She's very confused. Oh, lady. Alright, she won't look. Nice one. Well, exactly. We're gonna help you, sweet pea. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm just gonna go and get the stuff. This has become absolute habit, putting these in your pocket. Never leave them in the quad bike, even if it's just there. Do you know what I mean? Never leave them in, just in case. So with her walking round in circles, I'm suspecting she's got something called Listeriosis. I've just rang the vet to double check because obviously, as you know, I am new to this. Like, I am. I've only been doing this 2 years. So she said you can treat it with a fairly aggressive course of antibiotics. So I've just got to give her 4 mils of this. Put that back in the fridge because that's where it lives. And then Roy is, he actually went to get some feed a minute ago, so he's in town. So he's just going to nip into the vet and get what we need off them. Apparently, it's not got a high success rate, just apparently. But it's worth a go in it. So I'll give her this because I know she's just started with it, kind of thing. Because I was going around them yesterday. Well, you saw me going around them yesterday, and there's nothing wrong with any of them I didn't see, so it's kind of early on. So I'll just give her this. Not that she's hungry, but I'll give her some hay. Teddy is always hungry. So this is actually, it's associated with giving them silage. Now, as you know, the sheep had a grab of silage outside in the feeder, but they've been on bales, after you've seen me putting them in, for like the last fortnight. So I'm not convinced it's that's, I don't know. They were escaping, weren't they, and running in the silage pit. So I maybe have it in my head now that they have escaped running the silage pit, which was funny yesterday. And all of a sudden it's become particularly unfunny overnight. Yes, I may have just come to get straw with a quad bike. Yes, that may be lazy, but right now I'm thinking it is time-saving and efficient. Like, I'm just gonna put her in a tiny pen because she keeps stumbling around. So I'm putting her in a little pen. Now, this might seem extreme, but I just want to make sure that, number one, they aren't annoying her. And number two, I want to make sure she's clean and I can keep an eye on her properly. And she's not stumbling around as much. So, fortunately, the weighing scales already live in the stables, which is kind of handy. So I've just brought a hurdle in and I've just penned her up with loads of straw. I'll bring her some water, not that she's going to be hungry or anything. We have never farmed in a trigger happy fashion. Now, I know people that sheep would just get shot now. There's not even a hope in hell that they would try and treat it. Let's not pretend that people don't do that. They do. We don't, because number one, we're soft. And number two, we've always done it. And our vet bills are always, yeah, they're relatively high, but I'm all right with that. Like, I'm okay with that. I think it's the right thing to do, and I think it's the right way to be. If it had no chance whatsoever and it was really suffering, then fair enough, do it. But not just when there is a slim hope that you would completely put it right. I've caught it pretty early because I went around the sheep yesterday and they were all running round away from me. So hopefully there might be a slim chance. And when I say a slim chance, I mean a slim chance. The chances of her actually surviving this are pretty slim. But, you know, you've got to try, haven't you? Anything that wants to live. So she's currently just chilling, stood in there. She's not unsupported. She's leaning against the wall. It might look better than it is. I've given her some drench, like ketosis kind of drench for twin lamb, just because of the glucose to keep her levels up. I'll put some water in. She's got hay already, but she's not going to be eating it, to be fair. There's no point. Roy is on his way back from the vet because he'd been to the feed store and he's picked up some pretty harsh antibiotics to give her. I've already given her 4 mils of minoxidil already, but yeah, apparently that's how you treat it. You catch it early and you give them a really aggressive course of antibiotics. So next month when the vet bill comes and it's high and we go, oh yeah, it was for that sheep that went on the knacker wagon, do you know what, at least we tried. And that's that. If you ever needed a motto for this channel, that is it. There, we will try. That should be on my YouTube. Charlotte Ashley, soft as hell, and we'll always try. Oh, Roy's back. Injection. Giving me, I presume these are really strong antibiotics. As she said, she's written the instructions on the lid for me, and I will go ahead and stab the sheep. So when we go to the vets, I know in years gone by people have like reused syringes and stuff. We literally come back with a box full of syringes and every single different size of needle. And then when we have finished with that syringe and needle, they go in this box. There's several of these knocking around. There's one by the handling system. There's one in the stables. Like, they're everywhere. They're very handy to have. And yeah, it just keeps everything clean. It's a big dose. 8 mils twice a day. So this is one of my lambs. I bred this. Here we got a clint up, clean shearlings, and yeah, we put them together, and this is one of those. So she's in lamb with a blue Texel tup. So she's like single lamb. So really, she's not taking that much strain on her body. It's not like she's got triplets. Do you know what I mean? Ooh, I don't hold out hope, to be fair. I warn you now. So I'm scraping out and Roy is confining the sheep just so we can keep an eye on them, to be fair. Just to one field. They're going to be really cross because they like roaming, and we did open all the fields up for them, but it's just tough. So yeah, I'm just come inside. I've tracked the sheep, so we'll see how it goes. It does not have a good success rate, so the high probability is that it might drop dead. If you are of a sensitive nature, just don't watch it. Really, that's all I can say. Such is life, such is farming. Yeah, so I'm gonna make some dinner. Did you know these hats are magic? Are you ready?
I think we know this. We need to do something next year. Put a bit of, chance it where we put it.
Oh my god, now I feel better. But this is the AgriLink catalogue, and obviously we bruise these at dinner time because we are that sad. A polypropylene bag, a bag, can you see, a dumpy bag, is £16.88 with a cover. So, you know, that bit there on the top of that. Hence why we got round to talking about it.
This smells like in a bag.
Exactly the same. No way. So that is £16. 88 pence. I'm getting a history lesson here, hold on.
This, I'm learning this.
Yeah.
Pack up by hand.
So you used to have to take your bags, or did they supply the bags?
People buy them.
So you take bags, you would scoop the feed in,
Yeah, I remember stepping out.
take it to some scales, and weigh your feed out.
Yeah.
Never. So then the feed store stopped doing bag your own bags because Roy said to save on their transport costs, I think, to be fair. So they then stopped doing the bag your own and they went on to their own bags, which were these ones here, because obviously they could just come in on pallets on a curtain cider instead of coming on an actual, you know, a feed wagon with a massive blower on the side, which costs a fortune, there to maintain, etc, etc. So it saved on their feed costs. So that disappeared and it went to little bags. Then they encourage you to go to dumpy bags because it's £90, 90 quid a tonne cheaper if you go on a dumpy bag, right? So we bought this here. Now, it nearly fits a bag in. When I say nearly, I mean it's like mounted up on the top. It needs greedy boards on. It did not take long to make its money back, obviously, as you can imagine. And all it is you open it, and you can also open that fully if you wanted to and stick it in the top here and it sticks there. In time, we're going to get obviously a massive Collinson kind of tower, but until then, yeah, this has been all right. Sometimes you'll see us being really lazy and we don't even put the feed in it, we just take it out of the dumpy bag. But yeah, it's grand, and that's just exactly what it looks like to put your feed in. So people often ask, more on TikTok to be fair than YouTube, what feed they're on. They're on just a basic mix. They call it Appleby Flake. I'm sure in Kendal they call it Kendal Flake, and in Lancaster they call it Lancaster Flake. But yeah, this is what it is. Grains, barleys, peas, squashed corn flakes or whatever, corn, and then obviously a blend of different stuff. But a lot of it is waste products like husks and things like that, which it just shows you that the cows utilise other people's waste products. Which then leads us on to things, sorry, it's windy, isn't it? It then leads us on to things like the brewer's grain. So we go twice a week for brewer's grain to Toa Brewery, which is our friend Chris, and we get his brewer's grain and we feed it to the cows. So that's a waste product from the brewing and, you know, food and drink industry. And we didn't actually think it did a right lot, if I'm honest, until during COVID, we didn't have it. That horn was for me to do something. It was definitely for me. Well, I had an ex-girlfriend called Kate, who's lovely and amazing, and we get on really well. It's some of those weird stories, I promise. And anyway, he used to say, get the gate, Kate, and obviously I'm Charlotte, and it didn't quite sound as good. So 14, 15 years later, he still says, get the gate, Kate. She'll find that really amusing. I'm gonna send it her. Oh, so you know the other day when we were talking about how many stones and things were in the bottom of the trough? There's a fair few stones that you can see in the bottom of the trough. And these are out of the bales, not the silage. That was when I was saying why we didn't put the bales into the silage pit. And that's why. How are we? How are we feeling? You have a pet robin, I see. So not happy still. You can only try, can't you? You can only try. Look at these idiots. Fluff balls! He's not speaking to me because I told him off before because he was getting in the way. He's not my friend anymore. Check on my sheepy. How are we, chicken licking? Hey? How are we? The reason why she's got black around her mouth is because she's been licking the molasses, and that's what they all get, little black muzzles. Think about this whole situation. In the stable, I'm just gonna go and give Sheeper her nighttime antibiotics. Yeah, I don't really know what I can tell you. I wish I could have come in and she was like standing up and looking perky, and I can go, oh look, it's working guys, she's getting better. But sometimes in farming, just not be like that. And I think sometimes you may be seen to be quite hard, but it's only because you've been subjected to it that much that you get used to it, which is kind of sad. If you started crying after you lost or hurt every animal, you'd just be a blithering mess all the time. So it's just not worth doing. It's not worth doing it to yourself. It's unproductive. It doesn't make a difference to the situation. The situation's about the animal. It's not about how you feel. So you kind of have to like put it in a box and put it to one side. I'm quite good at that in life. We're gonna see if we can spot anybody else who's maybe looking a little bit downtrodden. Me and Nell Grey, we're just walking around all the sheep and making sure that everybody moves. No one is not coming to the feed that Roy's putting out over there. Girl. Good girl. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. From Aldi, we went the other day when we went to get the part for the bobcat, and I've just had a look, and Aldi sources 100% of its core, like eggs, meat, milk from British suppliers. And we actually have a friend who boycotted Sainsbury's because they were buying meat from Sainsbury's thinking it was British and it wasn't, and they're sourcing it from abroad. So yeah, people clearly prioritise this stuff. Looks good. And like, we went to the Highland show and the Yorkshire show. Aldi and Lidl have a huge presence with British farmers. They have like a really good rapport with them on a whole. I'm not quite sure any of the other supermarkets can match that, especially things like Tesco and stuff. They are just so far removed and they are seen as the problem, whereas Aldi and Lidl are kind of seen as the solution. But it's what they've made it. I'm making a mess, but it's the only way to cook it.